And welcome, Rooster Boosters. It's Rooster Booster time. I'm the big guy, Scott Ferrara. That's Mike the Grand Poobah Paraziti. And if you don't recognize the man on the bottom of our screen, you either haven't been a fan of rugby in a while, or you haven't been a fan of the MLR, or you haven't been a fan of New York because it was one of the biggest signings that New York had this season. Sam Windsor, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, this is a great opportunity. We love talking to guys who have been in this league for a while. You know, you've been in this league since day one. And so speaking of that, we're going right to Doug Coyle's article he wrote about you.
Right.
Let's go back to 2019, right? Played in all 16 matches, 1,261 minutes, 6 tries, 3 line breaks, 4 tackle breaks, 8 offloads. You kicked 83 times for 2,500 meters. You made 133 tackles. 2020, in only 5 matches, you started all of them. You became the all-time leading point scorer at 320 in the 2020 season. And then in 2021, again, you killed it. You started all 16 matches. You scored 112 points, 1 try, 16 conversions, 25 penalty goals for another 1,300-minute season. Holy shit. Like,
durable, I'm not meant to be durable at my age, but apparently, I don't know. Maybe it's my wife's cooking.
It's something, because I got to be honest, saying it out loud, my knees hurt now. Like, I have not played rugby in a while. Just thinking about 1,300 minutes a season. Even in the truncated season, having that type of, it's just amazing to me that you guys can stay fit, you guys can stay healthy. The recovery has now become a very big thing here, and it shows that you can have longevity in this sport at a high level.
Yeah, and it's. Growing up Australia, I played in Australia, I played in Europe for a number of years, and the seasons back home and in Europe are anywhere from 24 to 30 games long. So, that probably set me up and set my body up for, being a little more durable, I guess, over a longer period of time. And those seasons are 10 to 11 months long as well. So your body's got to put up with it, and you get the odd week off here and there. So I would definitely agree, or definitely say that the 16-game, 18-week season here is definitely condensed and a little higher impact and less time to recover. But you're never playing fully fit. You're never 100% ready to go. There's always something there that you just play through. I love playing footy, and it might be a slight ting here or a little bang there, but it's as soon as you step onto the field, those pains go away and the adrenaline kicks in, and you go out and have fun.
So here's Dougie Coyle coming in fresh, talking about
Doug probably knows more about my history than I do. I think.
You are the 5th guy to say that, by the way. If Doug hasn't done a deep dive into you, you ain't shit in rugby. But he has. How do you feel that now that you're playing in New York, you don't need to play 80 minutes because you got a couple guys behind you that can take up the slack?
Yeah, it was one of the talking points with Rick and Marty when the discussion started about coming up here, and the owners and Rick and the coaches here really did their homework on putting the squad together, and it wasn't just names that they picked out that looked good on paper. They really did their homework and spoke to people, and for me it was I'll happily play 80 minutes every week. I love playing it, and if I'm feeling good, I'll do it. But at the same time, if I want to be my best for the whole season, I don't need to be playing 80 minutes. I'm 35 this year, so not one of the younger players coming along. So the opportunity to not pick and choose, but monitor my load and get the best out of me at the important parts of the season is not only going to help me physically, but also help the team, put the best version of me out as and when they need it.
And to be honest, I think the last 2 games you've kind of seen it with Andy, where they started Connor Buckley. Unfortunately, I think like 17 minutes into the first match, Connor broke his nose for an HIA, so Andy had to come right in. But it is a point to talk about going into later matches. I mean, me and Mike, especially last year when it was pushed back a month, going down and playing in St. John's. I was sweat. Don't get me wrong, I sweat right now in 10-degree weather. But guys were dying on the field, so I could see how not putting pressure on yourself to say, hey, I could do 60 minutes, put in what I need to do, have a guy come in and give the same amount of effort and rating, and that'll get me through to the end of the season. I think it just makes sense. And I think that's how you have to build a squad.
Yeah, and also, on the flip side of that is watching the game from, the reserves bench is so beneficial for a player who has a bit of experience, right? You can see defensive trends. You can see where the space is. So, if I'm playing off the bench one week or whatnot, then, I can inject that, I guess, the knowledge and that different pace of play like Andy's been doing the last couple of weeks. So,
yeah.
We've got a great squad. None of the teams have huge depth. Numbers are all pretty much the same across the league, and it's the quality of depth that we have. I think that's going to help us, get through the first block of games up until our second bye week. Like, we've got 9 straight, so opening week, bye week, not great, but gave us another week to prepare. So now it's all right. How do we get to this next bye week? Keeping everyone fit, rotating players, and just making sure we're putting in good performances to set us up for hopefully, some success down the back end of the season.
It's funny. You're talking about being on the bench. There was a shot of you on the Rugby Network. I think after Jason scored his try, I think you were out, and you jumped up like you had just scored the try. I mean, the excitement on that. I believe also when Andrew Coe intercepted the try and had his first try.
Yeah,
I think Zach was down at that end, just kind of keeping himself warm.
Yeah.
And the first guy in was Zach off the end of the try line to give him a hug. I like to see veterans excited when the young guys are making plays. It shows that everybody's bought in, that the culture's right, that the guys are there to do what they need to do. It's just, you just happen to bring that up, and it was
it's
something
awesome.
I mentioned to my wife. Yeah,
Jace, I posted something I think Thursday or Friday about the game. Might have been the team list or something, and he sent me a message saying, "Let's go, bro. Like, let's get me a try." It's been a while since he scored. Apparently, he hasn't scored in 2 years, so that was his first try in 2 years. So that's what I was ecstatic for him. I couldn't be happier for him, and that's the kind of group that we have. Like, the success from one guy to the next, it all reverberates back to the team and the culture we're creating, and it's awesome. I'm really enjoying it.
So I got a question. So you played in Houston, so you're used to Aviva Stadium.
Yep.
But you go to Aviva Stadium week 2. We know the wind's whipping. I mean, we've experienced it when we were at Cochrane. We experienced it when we were in MCU Park.
Yeah.
Now you go to ATL in their new stadium, and the wind is kind of negligible. When you went to play in Houston in week 2, was it in the back of your mind like, shit, I'm going back into this wind again, and I might not get the opportunities?
No, not really. I mean, Houston, the Aviva Stadium in my mind is one of the best fields I've played on across my career. It's, they've done such a good job at setting up the rugby purpose. It's great for the fans. It's great for the players. Teams look forward to going to play there because just the quality of the surface and the atmosphere that the organisation create on game night. And we trained there Friday. We got there Friday, did our captain's run, and it was, I don't know, it's probably mid-60s. So it was beautiful, a little bit of a breeze blowing. So I feel like I've harnessed the wind there quite well. But Saturday night, I've played in wet games there, cold games there, windy games there, but it was windy and colder than any game I've played there. So it was super interesting. It was tough to kind of get a hold on, and we've got enough players across the field with enough experience and enough patience and leadership to kind of go, okay, well, yes, it's windy, but we've got the tools in the belt to deal with this. And if we need to hold onto the ball and play out of our own 5 meter line, then so be it. Because I kicked one dropout from the goal line, which I hit quite sweetly. I was pretty happy with it, and it barely made it to the 22. Like, it was, I was like, damn, this is going to be tough 40 minutes. So, credit to Houston for putting the hammer on us for that first 40, because it was it could be a 20-point, 30-point wind that was that fast. Like, it was. And it was blowing the opposite direction Friday. So it was blowing south on the Friday, and then it was blowing north. That's interesting. On the Saturday. So you don't know what you're going to get to go to Aviva. I've asked the owners multiple times to, plant some 40-foot, 50-foot pines at the south. Well,
that leads to my next question. So for those viewers, we actually have Jason Emery coming on Thursday to my other show, The Rugby Rant. And I talked to him about the automatic 7. Yeah. So are you giving him the business about getting that automatic 7? Because I mean, he could just do it on the other side of the post and give you the 2 points. I'm just saying.
So teams, when they brought that in last year, teams started to do that because they thought, that gives us the extra time to kind of regather and regroup at halfway and catch our breath or whatnot. But now the referees almost implement that minute kick clock, even though there's no kick needed to be taken. So if I wanted to be selfish and make it about my points tally, then maybe there'd be a coffee here or a coffee there for boys to score.
I'm telling you, you're gonna see a difference in the next couple of weeks. All of a sudden, guys are gonna be free and clear and just I'm gonna put it right. Oh, I forgot about the 7 points.
If any team would do it, it'd be Nola because of the Carlos Spencer influence. That footage of him when he ran in and ran across the hole in goal and then scored in the corner and then kicked an unbelievable conversion to convert it. Mate, I'll take all tries under the sticks. I don't care if I don't have to kick them. Great. If we get 7 points and we can just build tallies, then let's go.
We have another question. I've been taking. Mike hasn't said a word yet, but we're getting some fan questions. So, have any of the Samoans on New York taught you any Samoan words?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, not taught
words that you could repeat.
This has been a big part of our culture and the team that we're building is kind of that inner sanctum of what we have going on here. So I'm not going to go into it at all because it's something that's super special to us and super intimate and it's just helping build this monster that is growing here in Jersey and New York. So you'll see clippets and little snippets of it on the social medias. We got Stanton who's doing a great job of getting some of that media out there and giving people a look into the world of rugby New York. So having Pungo come back, playing with Pungo in year 1 at Houston, he's an absolute character. And, we all saw what he did last year with LA and the amount of enjoyment he brought to not only his teammates, but fans and everyone around him. He's just added another dimension to that as well. And Ed Fidel, says he hates talking, but, he's always the one up singing or dancing or doing something. So, mate, it's awesome. It's so good.
Good. I'm glad. Again, I think having Zach there, being a guy who's been there and done that, being capped for Samoa, and I thought it was funny in Houston. Whoever was the official was talking to him about scrumming, and Andy goes, he like captain Samoa, right? Like he's a captain international. You're telling him about how he's scrumming not straight. I thought that was hysterical because I think sometimes we forget like these guys have played and been there and done that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike, you want to start with the questions? Because
I'll ask a question finally. I was going to say, so for the past few years, Sam Windsor, your name has been synonymous with Houston. How did it feel, going back and getting that win against, your former team? Clearly, you're still friends with the guys and stuff like that. But how does it feel to go back and get that win?
Yeah, I mean, it was satisfying. It would have, Houston will always be a big part of me, and it was what kind of started. It wasn't the start of my journey here in America, but it was probably where I invested all my energy, all my emotion, all my effort for almost 5 years. So it wasn't ever a topic of discussion in the week leading up to it. It was never about that. People reached out to me saying, can't wait to catch up, can't wait to see you at the game and stuff. So the job we had was to go there and weather the storm that we knew they were going to bring and get the win first and foremost. And then, fortunately we did get the win. And then after it was great to catch up with the few people that hung around and braved the cold to say hi and catch up. So, satisfying is probably the best word to describe my emotions after that, and maybe a little bit of a relief as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the guys going into ATL this past week had the same thing.
Yep.
Guys like Evan Minturn and Will Leonard and Jonas and Will and Ross, and the former New York guys. And I think it's always most guys who leave New York, it's not a revenge game when they play New York. Yep. For you, it wasn't a revenge game. It was more of a homecoming to a team that.
Like Will was a man possessed at the weekend from minute 1 to minute 80. Like I don't know if there's any footage of it after the game, but he was.
He was like upset, right?
I'm probably upset, but he was spent. Like he gave it everything, and he played well. Like he's a handful to tackle. He runs harder than most centers in the league. So he definitely had a point to prove, and I think it was proven. The boys were all really impressed with the way he.
Although I already was busting his chops on social media because I'm pretty sure before he scored his try, they threw that ball forward. But TMO didn't. It's considering they called it a try and TMO didn't check it. It was a try, Will. It was a try.
For once, we don't want TMOs checking everything. It's going to be, people have asked for TMOs, now they get it, and now they're like, no, it's too much TMO. Like, what's going on? So, no, it's good to have that in the league, and I think it's for the more serious actions and some of the other stuff that they can pick up on, which is going to really benefit and amplify the league and give it that little bit more respect across the world in terms of the professionalism.
So now we're getting down to some nitty gritty questions. Very excited about this.
Let's go.
So okay, so who has better hair, Charlie Hewitt or John Gressacek?
Oh, Charlie be watching this because he's quite vain, and he'll probably want me to say something nice about him because he's trying to raise his stocks, I'm sure. So Johnny G has flowing locks. Like I'm washes twice a day and keeps quite manicured. So he had to go preseason game in Austin. I think he was asking a few of the other boys with long hair, what's the best way to tie the top knot to keep it out of his face. So Charlie's mullet is is getting there. I don't know how much longer he's going to keep it around. He wanted to keep it around for his parents who were in town last week for the game. So now that they've gone, who knows what he's going to come up with. But it's part of his character now, so I don't think he can cut it. I think he'll have to keep it maintained, and it's a respectable mullet. It's not too outlandish at the moment. So just to save myself any grief later in the week, I'll go with Charlie.
I like Charlie's gonna annoy the shit out of him, so I'm gonna pick him. Because if I don't, I'll hear about it all week. That's great. That's a great answer.
Respectable answer.
Political,
so now, another tough question. Now, it's a two-parter: high socks or low socks, and then plain cleats or flashy cleats.
I'm a high socks kind of guy. They'll get down. Yeah. Growing up, Chris Latham was he was a fullback for the Wallabies, and he was probably one of the first to never wear his socks up. And as a kid, you're like, oh, what's he doing? Like, no way, he's got his socks down. That's so disrespectful. So maybe if I had slightly bigger calves, I might go the socks down a little bit further. But traditional high socks. And then boots. It depends on what versions they're bringing out at the moment. I'll happily wear a black boot. I'll happily wear a white boot. It's really I'm not too superstitious about colors of my boots. It's what feels comfortable, and if I kick well in a pair of boots, then I'll stick with them, and they can be black, blue, purple, whatever, doesn't matter.
Funny, I'm superstitious about everything. Everything. You have no idea. We in freshman year of football, American football, didn't wash my practice pads the entire season. We went 8-0-1. My mother watched the pads before the last game, and we tied the last team. So I was really pissed.
No way.
Yeah,
because Leonard Fournette still wears his LSU undershirt under all his pads and stuff. So I'm all
Charlie
about those. I haven't quite got one. So I guess if I did have something, might happen in the next couple of games where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to wear my underwear back to front or something. But I'll always wear noodle bags or budgie smugglers under my shorts. Maybe that's a little. Maybe something, but I don't know.
Well, now we're going to have to ask after every win which way your underwear was facing. So
yeah, they'll always be forward. I can't imagine it'd be too comfortable if they're the other way around.
So, we have another question from a fan, real quick. So, do you feel he's asking Richard Kane, which one of your old teammates hit you the hardest versus the Sabercats 2 weeks ago? Did anybody get any real big hits on you?
Yeah, Nico Silvero got a good one on me, actually. Yeah. He missed me a couple of times, and he kind of gave me a little smirk and a little nudge on the ground. But, he got me once from the side. I think I got an offload and just got munched from the side, and he landed on top of me, and it was like, oh, there we go. That's it. So, there weren't too many boys on the field when we played there that I played with last year, but Nico's a pretty physical and explosive kind of player. So I was expecting a bit of extras or a bit of treatment from not just the guys I played with, but also the South African guys as well. So
it's always fun. Yeah. I love those. I love that.
Well, actually, no. Nico hit me hard, but then Harry hit me off the ball, which apparently should have been a yellow card too. After I spoke to the referee after the game, and we'd been on a podcast earlier in the week, so maybe I said him and he wanted to get one on me, but no.
Watching the game, I thought it was a yellow, and I think it was reported as a yellow. But did he ever leave the field?
No. So Mako Anufe got the yellow for the deliberate knockdown, and that was what took the.
That's what took the card. That's what I told. Yeah, because Mike goes, "Oh, it's on the hit," and I was like, "No, it's on the deliberate knock."
Yeah,
because he was up in the air and spiked that shit.
Yeah,
he knew it was going the other way.
So they were lucky there. They could have been down to 13 men, and that might have opened the game up a little bit. But all good fun.
Absolutely.
Rugby.
All right. So I was going to say, now another hard question for you. Of the new Rooney or the jerseys that they have this year,
yes,
the home away, the heritage, and the neighborhood, which is your favorite?
We played in the heritage jersey at the weekend, and I was a big fan of that one. I know it's kind of a bit cliche. Everyone loves the collared shirts and stuff, but I think just those colors work quite well.
Yeah.
With the shorts and the socks as well, and they're comfy to play in, and they look quite cool. The home and away ones are pretty cool. We kind of hoping we'd have some white socks to go with the white jerseys, and that would probably complete that look. But the heritage jersey for sure is probably my favorite. We train in we got the neighborhood ones, more of our training jersey as well. So I like that. It's quite cool, and the boys love it, and it's obviously a good homage to all the parts of the city that we play for.
Are you partial to like the collar jersey? Do you prefer a collar or do you not prefer a collar?
Paladin they've got like 5 or 6 different versions of collars. So at Houston, one of my roles was sort of designing and organizing all the kit for training and games and stuff. So I got to do a bit of a deep dive with the Paladin guys into what worked and what looked good. And we had a sort of a heritage type retro jersey with Houston last year, which had the collar, which was quite cool. And probably that was the biggest hit amongst the boys. There needs to be some form of collar. I don't like, some of them kind of run quite tight with like a little bit of elastic around there, but I feel there needs to be a bit of a collar on a rugby.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you're right. Yeah, a heritage jersey, big seller. I bought this one this year. I was told by my wife I could buy one kit, so that was my kit this year.
Yeah, that's probably because I think England wore like those mock neck in 03 World Cup when they beat Australia. So that's probably why I don't know. So.
Oh man, that's so funny. So so the next question, so excluding New York and excluding Houston,
yes,
if you're going to spend your own money on a kit this year, which kit are you buying in the MLR?
Let me think about what's getting out there at the moment. I kind of like the Seattle away kit. My wife's going to punch me for that one because she was like, why are they wearing white? But the Seattle away kit, that white one looks quite cool. So that's not a bad one. That's probably something I could invest in. And then I think New England have about 15 different jerseys. So there's probably one in England I think that I could probably see myself wearing.
Yeah, you should check out when you have time. Dallas is coming out with their own heritage jersey, and it's that green
and the
turquoise
black,
color. No, it's white. It's turquoise and white hoops with a white collar. Okay. It actually looks pretty snazzy, to be quite honest. I saw it yesterday, and I'm like, maybe I could sneak one by the old lady.
My rugby league team back home is the Sydney Roosters, and they're the tricolours, the red and blue. So that's why New England might get the nod. I
hear you. You know, it's we're gonna have to fire you. You've been fired now. Next week. We don't talk about New England here. And just remember, if you could sign with anybody in the league, if you sign with New England, you are dead to us.
That's fine. That's fine. No intentions at all.
Matt working, he's out. He lost his Rooster hood. No, I play around. We have a great relationship with the New England fans, the New England players. Good rivalry
times this year as well. So there's going to be, that's probably a natural rivalry for us, and something that's going to create some good footage and some good games. And they're 3-0, right? Or 2-0 there to bye week.
2-0, yeah. They're playing good rugby. Just like it's great to see them and us playing good rugby.
Yeah, Bodine Waka's just gone strength to strength at 10, and then good mate of mine, Paolo Bellacana, was with us at Houston. He was a great pickup for them. So yeah, definitely a team to watch in the East.
Absolutely,
sure.
Mike, you got the next one.
I got the next one. I was going to say, you're like we mentioned before, you were stalwart at Houston. Now you've come into to Rooney. You kind of mentioned it. How has the new experience been like as coming in here and being a former player for and a main player at another team. Now you come in and you're gonna have to find yourself. So how's that been? How's the experience been?
I don't find it's always hard going to a new place, right? Going to a new team, and you've got a little bit of reputation or whatnot. We made the decision to move up from Houston in early October last year. My sister-in-law lives a couple hours north of the city, up in a little town called Hillsdale, right on the Massachusetts border.
Oh yeah,
I know exactly. It's up by me.
Great spot, awesome spot. So we spent 6 weeks up there living with them. We had the dog, we got a husky, and she was just loving it. Woods. And then came down to Jersey City at the start of December, right at the end of November, and there was sort of a 3-week block before Christmas with a lot of the local guys that might 4 days a week. So I got to kind of find my feet before the rest of the squad joined us just after Christmas. So that gave me an opportunity to kind of get a feel for the place and get to know Marty Veal a bit better and Rick and kind of get a vibe for what New York's about and how they do their business. And then obviously been playing against a lot of these guys for 4 years. So, you'd call them acquaintances probably, but now they're all good mates, and I really enjoyed it. And it's, it wasn't a selling point for me to come here, but speaking with Rick and Marty, their goal for me was just to play rugby. I had too many off-field duties and responsibilities at Houston that probably took away from my on-field performances. And, I was always worried about something that I shouldn't have been because it was game day and all I needed to worry about what was going on between the white lines. So the emphasis they put on me just coming here and playing and enjoying the last few years of my career was, it was awesome and refreshing and relieving, and just a breath of fresh air to go back to doing what I do best and why I love playing footy and why I started playing rugby in the first place. And so far so good, and we're having a great time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I live in the woods. Mike lives in the woods, so we know how woods living goes. Mike is up by Albany. I'm about an hour and a half away from Midtown without any traffic. With traffic, forget about it. It becomes 3 or 4 hours. But but it's one of those things that it's interesting because you came, you had your feet wet. You were with family a little bit. You started up with Rooney, in December, and like you were saying, and then guys like Jason Emery came and jumped right in it, and he said that was actually probably better for him to just jump right into the rugby portion because he's like, I know my family settled. He goes, the family was settled, and jumping right into rugby to kind of, I didn't have time to think about, oh man, I'm in a new country and this and that and the other thing. So I find it interesting, the juxtaposition between the two.
And roll, being at Houston all year round, I wasn't a fly in, fly out one of the players. We lived there full time. So accommodating the new guys coming in and making sure that they felt comfortable and they felt welcome and they had everything they needed and they knew where to go to get a phone, to get groceries, to get whatever else might be, that's all taken care of here. And Rick and his fiancée Nikki do a great job of making it a family. And they almost prioritize the wives, girlfriends, and kids above the players because without them we're not going to be here. We're not going to be in a good place. And if they're not happy, then it's going to backfire on us, and then we're not performing and we're coming in underdone or whatever it might be. So I haven't been in many places that have that down pat as well as they do here, and just that whole family environment is really good. And Becca's loving it. She's got a whole new group of friends that she's loving hanging out with. They host watch parties and stuff like that. So that nice. Makes everything easier for the players as well, knowing that their wives and partners and kids are being looked after and they can focus on the footy.
And that's one of the things we've seen at home matches. Luke Hume's wife and his gorgeous little daughter running around was probably one of the best things that we saw last season around Cochrane, because she was flying. If Luke was down the field, his daughter was down the field. He was running back, she was running back. It was great. I
need to catch up with Hume. I haven't caught up with him yet. Obviously played against him a few times, and he hasn't. Waiting for him to pop up at training actually, and just kind of see if we're short any numbers, and he wants to jump back out and have a run around. So.
one of my favorite players, Luke Hume. One of my favorites. Real quick, let's talk about the upcoming match. You guys are playing a Dallas Jackals team that, in my opinion, the 0-3 record doesn't reflect how they've been playing the last two matches. They lost a close one to Houston.
Yeah.
The match before that was
San Diego.
Legion, and they were up at halftime and then just kind of blew it in the second half.
Yeah.
So my question to you about the match is: you just played an emotionally tough match against ATL. Holding them off in the last 5 minutes. Are you coming into a letdown game against Dallas right now?
No, not at all. Dallas is going to win a game this year, without a doubt. They've got some good players. They're a new team, and we don't want it to be us. So it's a very it's your typical banana skin game for everyone coming up against them between now and round 18, right? So we've got this is the last game of our three road games. So we've got no excuses to really be clicking and putting in a big performance. So we're not underestimating them by any stretch. They've got some dangerous players. They're still acquiring players. Adrian Boyson arrived last week. He's an absolute powerhouse when he gets going. Adrian Carlese from Atlanta is, you can't give him an inch because he'll take, 50 yards off you. So, massive challenge for us to put together a complete performance. Houston was a little tough in the wind, and then Atlanta, we dropped off a couple of times in the second half and probably didn't execute as well as we should have, with some openings and some easy probably tries. So, big focus on us this week is just, staying focused on the task at hand, getting a win, and then trying to get the momentum going into our first home game on the 6th of March.
Awesome. Listen, I like to hear that you guys are cognizant of the fact that this could be a trap game for you, because sometimes guys don't like to talk about it and then they kind of get surprised by it. I do think Dallas is going to come out and give you guys a little bit of punch in the mouth in the first 10 minutes. So it depends on how you guys react to that first 10 minutes. I think will then be what the rest of the course of the game is in the next 70 minutes.
Yeah. I don't like to focus too much on the weather, but wherever we're going, it's turning to crap. It's meant to be, I'm going to go Celsius at 8, double it at, it's going to be, high 30s or something on Saturday night down in Dallas. So
Well, and you're leaving. If you guys are leaving on Friday, it's supposed to friggin' snow, so be careful on your travel plans. 'Cause those flights are going to get canceled real easy. So, safe travels. Be careful. Get your mind right. Get your body right, and you have thousands of supporters from New York, watching the game on TRN. That will be at the Pig and Rooster, the Pig and Whistle again this upcoming Saturday for the match. I believe Blue Point's going to be there, from what I heard. Awesome. So, guys. Yeah, come see the big guy down at the Pig and Whistle. Or if you're up in the Albany area, the Excelsior Pub is where Mike has his Rooster Booster watch parties. So go check out Mike. Try and get on camera as we try and figure out our pregame show again. We'll see if I get any service in the Pig and Whistle this time. But Sam, thank you so much for taking time out. We really appreciate it. The fans love that we get to talk to players and appreciate the fact that you guys are willing to come on and kind of bullshit with me and Mike, who really don't know anything about rugby. Let's be honest, Mike. We're terrible.
You guys know a lot about rugby. Yeah. Don't discredit yourselves that much. We are more than happy to do things like this because we want to pack out JFK Stadium, for all 8 home games, and it's a week away. So the boys have all got a little task to get out amongst the community and convince some people to come along next Sunday. Because I don't know if you guys have been there, but it's actually quite a intimate little venue, which is going to create a massive atmosphere if we have that place packed out. So tickets are on sale, single game, group tickets, season tickets. We're blown away all the previous year's season ticket sales so far. So, we're building something really, really big here and something that we're really proud of. And hopefully we're going to play the kind of footy for fans to get behind and support us. So appreciate your guys' support as always and all the supporters. And March 6th, come out, see us, and hopefully we're 3-0 and going to make it 4-0.
Absolutely. I got my season tickets. I think Mikey's coming down for that one. And Walker Tice.
Try and come down. Yeah.
Walker Tice better watch out because Sam Windsor's coming for his job selling tickets here. Guys, fans, thank you so much for watching. I'm the big guy, Scott Farrar. That's Mike the Grand Poobah Parazzini. For Sam Windsor and the rest of the Rooney guys. Thank you guys, and we'll see you on Saturday. We do our pre-match show about 30 minutes before kickoff. So we'll see you guys on Saturday.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Mike. Have a good night, guys.